On behalf of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Ormond Beach, I would like to welcome you to the annual assembly tonight. We thank you so much for the opportunity and the privilege to sing for you tonight. And we hope that the two selections that we do tonight will encourage you to keep and continue to do the marvelous job you do in faith. We're going to change moves a little bit. We're going to do a number from Ragtime, all about justice or injustice. Make them hear you.
Make them hear you. How justice was our battle, and how justice was denied, make them hear you. Make them hear you.
Good evening. Thank you for coming. We are grateful that you took the time to be here. We are grateful for each of you this evening. Our time is very valuable tonight. We want to change the world. We want to be the change we want to see in the world. Tonight we want to demonstrate that we will participate in a different kind of future. We are unified in our desire to work for and build a better, more just world. We know we cannot build justice without being just along the way. We cannot build a world of respect without respect along the way. We cannot build a world based on love without being loving the entire way. So tonight, we must model justice and respect and love. But let us be clear, we are serious about justice. We are serious about respect. We are serious about love. They go both ways, and they are for everyone. We are here this evening because we seek justice for the poor in our community. We seek to be the voice for the voiceless, to engage power for the powerless. We recognize that we are individuals confronting systems, but we are filled with hope, and therefore we are relentless. I want to remind us all of how we do things at the Faith Action Assembly. We want this process to run smoothly and reflect our values and our goals. This process is very simple. It is direct so that we can be clear and avoid any misunderstandings. Tonight, we will be calling community leaders to come before us, and they will be asked a set of questions to which they must answer yes or no, clear and direct. The questions have been formulated to be answered just that way, yes or no, clear and direct. To be faithful to our time limits, we cannot allow comments after each and every question, but each official will have 2 minutes to respond after all the questions have been answered. I want to ensure all of you that everyone you will see before you here tonight has received written copies of these questions, and they know and understand our rules ahead of time. They are applied equally to all of our officials. Each county council member invited tonight has been asked for a pre-meeting to to discuss the questions beforehand and had the opportunity to provide feedback. Because we have 14 municipalities in our county, we were not able to meet individually with every one of them, but we have been communicating the questions to them. We are not looking for explanations or excuses, not anything but a simple yes or no, clear and direct. At the end of a set of questions, responders will be given 2 minutes to comment on their answers or make any explanations they feel are necessary. To respect their time and ours, we will follow this rule absolutely to ensure that we are fair to all. Our intention is to be clear and direct, but we recognize that some of it may feel like we are confrontational or rude. This is not our intention. Our intentions have been made very clear. We want to work with everyone, and we will bring voices and energy, time, and our resources to help make our community better. We want to join on the same team towards justice. We seek to help change the world towards justice. Tonight we seek clarity on serious questions. The challenges that we are seeking to address are not simple or easy, or they would have been solved by now. We have been singing the song for a long time. We shall overcome. We must use our energy and our time today to make someday come. There will always be voices that say, slow down or wait. It turns out that the reason we must do this and have this kind of action assembly is that some people could wait forever. If we don't act, if we don't do our part, someday will never come. Injustice lives on. We are here, united in seeking justice for a variety of reasons. Some of us have seen and felt injustice personally, and some of us are living in it today. Some of us have lived lives of relative privilege, and we are heartbroken that all of us are not valued the same. We are called. We are passionate. We are here. We are here to address the challenges of injustice. We value and love each other and our elected officials. Quite simply, our elected officials have a place of authority and power and responsibility to help heal the broken systems in our community and to help correct systemic injustice. We are here to support you in making our community a more just place. Those are the rules for the official responders. Now let me talk about the rest of us, our part. If we receive a yes answer to any questions, our spokespersons will give a nod to the head floor team member, Wendy Gillis, and we will all begin our method of approval. We want everyone at that time to give us thunderous applause. For every yes, thunderous applause. We want to raise the roof and let our leaders know we support them in their answer. Now, floor team members are located all around you in the aisles, and they are going to be our guide in our responses. So remember, when you hear a yes, and you see the floor team clapping, follow their lead, and let us really hear your enthusiasm. If we receive a no answer to any question, our normal response anywhere else would probably be to groan, or murmuring, or even maybe a boo. But our rules call for a different, more powerful reaction. Here's how that works. Our spokesperson will give a nod to our head floor team member, and that will be our signal for complete silence. We do not want booing, jeering, or any noise at all. This is not our style. This is not respectful. Instead, we want to greet our officials with a deafening silence, clear and respectful. Now let's go over that again. I know the issue of jobs, youth arrest, homelessness, and issues about which many of us have deep feelings and concerns. After all, that's why we came tonight. But we cannot let our passions overcome us. No boos, no cheering, no muttering, just complete and utter silence. Check with the floor team member closest to you for direction. So, yes, applause, no silence. Let me practice. Let me call Reverend Dave Troxler to stand up. He's our timekeeper. I'm getting to ask you a few questions. Now, don't forget, you get to answer yes or no. That's it. And you have got to be completely honest. Are you ready? Do you believe that faith moves mountains?
Yes.
Will you give someone extra time, go against the agenda just because you happen to like them or agree with what they are saying?
No.
All right. I think that we are prepared to do just a no clapping, he said no. Just silence. We appreciate it. But every no, just silence. Thank you. One more time. Yes? Applause? No? Beautiful. Faith.
Somebody say amen. I am Reverend Nathan McCall, Pastor of Bible Chapel here in the Church in the City, and co-president of Faith. Welcome you to the 2016 Action Assembly. And this meeting is now officially called to order. We will follow our agenda that's printed. This moment we will have Sister Linda Preston come and give us the welcome. Following that, we'll have a prayer by Willa Marie Smith.
On behalf of Bethune-Cookman University, we wish to welcome all of you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Let us pray. Father in heaven, we come before you this evening. We come here to look for justice from those that have the power to get it going. We ask that you will open their hearts and their minds to understand that we're not here to do anything but to take care of those who are in need. And so, as we go through this evening, Lord, we just ask that you will cover each of us with your loving spirit, and that we will go away from here loving and wanting and doing the things that you have asked us to do. Amen.
Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you tithe mint and dill, law, justice, mercy, and faithfulness. These you ought to have done without neglecting the others. Brothers and sisters, I stand before you tonight with a devotional message on justice. Once the devil was walking with one of his cohorts, he saw a man in front of him pick up a shiny item. Cohort turned to the devil and said, "What did he find?" The devil said, "A piece of the truth." Cohort said, "Wow, are you worried?" The devil said, "No, I'll just make sure that they turn it into religion." Such was the case in Matthew 23. Jesus confronted the so-called religious leaders of his day. He sternly rebuked them for preaching the truth, but not practicing the truth. there was an inconsistency between their faith and their actions. As it was in this text, so it is in our time. In far too many instances, we are suffering from so-called religious leaders who preach the truth, but do not consistently practice the truth. I'm asking leaders tonight to stand up and speak up for the cause of justice. This small talk, late S.L. Badger said, you don't have to be everlasting to make an eternal difference. So just for 3 more minutes, I want to sum up this talk in one sentence. If we follow Jesus' example, then we will build power for justice. Jesus was at least 3 things. There were 3 things that characterized the ministry of Jesus Christ. He was confrontational. The text is clear to show us an expose of his ministry. To confront means to challenge or to oppose face to face. Brothers and sisters, we must not avoid or circumvent important issues. Jesus confronted the important issues of his day. And tonight, issues before us are worth confronting. Healthcare issues we must confront. Homelessness we must confront. Youth criminal justice issues we must confront. And we must not allow elaborate deny and delay tactics to stop us. We know that our efforts will work. We must not be told to stand down, back off, or shut up. How can we afford to back down as long as we have family and friends that are sleeping in the woods? How can we afford to stand down? There are thousands who are yet to receive affordable health care. How can we be silent when there are reasonable and rational interventions that will help to stop the atrocity of mass incarceration? I say tonight we must stand up and speak up. Frederick Douglass said that if there is no struggle, there is no progress. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. Yes, it will cost us. It may cost us our popularity, but we must stand up and speak up. It may cost you an invitation to a certain meeting or a certain party, but you must stand up and speak up. It cost Rosa Parks some jail time, but she stood up for justice. It cost John Lewis a cracked skull on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, but he stood up. It cost Martin Luther King Jr. his life, but he stood up. It cost, and this is supposed to be a sermon tonight, it cost Jesus Christ a cross. It cost him nails in his hands. It cost him nails in his feet. It cost him a crown of thorns on his head. It cost him being spat upon, but he stood up. Brothers and sisters, where there is no cross, there is no crown. We must take a stand. Faith moves mountains, and faith will not go away. God bless you. Have a good night.
I'm Dave Archer, a member of Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Community, Daytona Beach. Over a decade ago, Halifax Hospital was approached by Faith, a group that the hospital had never experienced before. Back then, we had uncovered problems affecting health care for our brothers and sisters with no voice in Volusia County. We had conducted thorough research and made recommendations for changes at the hospital's 2 clinics. Clinics assigned to treat the indigent, but underserving patients in spite of funding from property tax money. And then, we were not afraid to meet with Halifax. Through our hard work and persistence a decade ago, Halifax made changes by developing a plan that included all our recommendations for improvements. Today, there is a community clinic inside the walls of Halifax to divert the working poor from expensive trips to the emergency room and receive ongoing primary and preventive care. However, at Faith House meetings last fall, stories were revealed from members of our congregations struggling to get adequate health care by being uninsured and underinsured. Some members have been denied access to this community clinic for arbitrary reasons. We heard of the uninsured going without adequate health care by simply being unaware of the existence of the community clinic. At our Community Problems Assembly, Faith voted to address the issue of health care. In January, our Health Care Committee conducted individual on-site testing at the hospital to see what had fallen through the cracks. Since there were no signs in the parking lots for the community clinic, emergency room staff was asked for directions. One didn't know about the clinic. Another gave directions to the Jesus Clinic, a private nonprofit not associated with Halifax. Another staff member gave directions to the door at the east entrance of the Fountain Building. The door was locked. A security guard stated, "Oh, that door hadn't been operational to the public for some time." A committee member found the clinic after a long walk from the front door, making the clinic almost inaccessible for the handicapped. To give an account on the issue in Halifax that has affected a member of Faith is Patricia Shaw from Allen Chapel AME Church, Daytona Beach.
Hi, I am Patricia Shaw at Allen Chapel AME Church, Daytona Beach, Florida. My health care problem started when my husband found out he was diabetic 6 years ago. I applied for affordable health care, but was finally unqualified. Then they charged us $1,000, which we could not afford. I have a full-time job that offers health care insurance, and also way too expensive. I was forced to take my husband to the emergency room at Halifax. They were treating him was an immediate need with insulin, and then sent him away with a prescription for insulin that was with no health care insurance. We could not afford it either. We had to pay $350 a month for insulin. I was forced to choose weekly between food for my family and insulin for my husband. We couldn't afford the kind of consistent medical care and the medication that he needed. In the past 3 years, he has lost a total of 5 toes. Now he can't work. In the past year, we were in and out of the hospital emergency room 36 times. He was hospitalized 23 times of those 36. Never once were we informed that we might qualify for Halifax Patient Assistance Program. When I did find out about it through my involvement with Faith, my husband denied because he did not have 2 pieces of bill with his name on it. We fixed that and waited the required 3 months to reapply, but was rejected because he had received free assistance from the Jesus Clinic. Now, getting charity from the Jesus Clinic has become a blessing, or was a blessing, but it's limited and will run out within a year. Expanding access to the community clinic will help so many who are in a tough spot and need assistance. Thank you.
After bringing these concerns to Halifax last month, we are happy tonight to state that the hospital began to make improvements immediately. Here are the commitments that Halifax has made that we celebrate tonight. Halifax will improve access to the clinic for the underinsured and uninsured by reopening the door at the east entrance. By placing additional signs for the clinic in the parking lot and ER. By designating parking spaces for the clinic. And by simplifying links to the clinic on the Halifax website. Halifax has committed to educate new and existing hospital staff members so that they know of the clinic's location and services within their own hospital. It will direct its marketing department to create awareness in the 32114 neighborhoods that the clinic has as an alternative to the emergency room for primary and preventive care. Halifax will continue to consult with Stewart Marchman Act to determine how to increase access to mental and behavioral services at the clinic. Halifax has committed to meet with Faith within the next 30 days to revise eligibility criteria for the clinic to make its services more attainable to those who need it in the community. Let's celebrate these accomplishments now. Under notice from Our Lady of Lourdes Church, will hold the microphone now for a response by a representative of the hospital. Let's welcome Arvin Lewis, the Chief Revenue Officer from Halifax Health.
All right, on behalf of the 4,000 employees at Halifax Health, I want to thank the Faith Healthcare Committee to continue to work with us. You guys do a great job, and we do a great job. We're the safety net for Volusia and Flagler County, and we care for everybody. We wake up every day thinking about our quality principles of safety, compassion, image, and efficiency. That keeps us focused on what matters most. It keeps us grounded. Now, it's an election year, so you hear a lot about health care and a lot about taxes. And you hear that Halifax Health receives millions of dollars for taxes for health care. So, at the end of the day, after we pay redevelopment districts, various other things that we pay to the county and state, we get $9.1 million. We spend $16 million on community services, like the trauma program, the clinics, preventative care, neonatal program, the behavioral health program. And so we have $7.6 million that we take out of our pocket to fund those services. On top of that, we provided $38 million worth of charity care last year. So last year, we invested $46 million in our community. Personally, I believe that every day God uses the talents of our physicians and our hospital staff to mend the bodies and the minds of our patients. Many people arrive with multiple problems, and on a regular basis, we get to see miracles happen. So I'm proud to be a part of the Halifax Health Team, proud of the relationships that we've developed with Faith and other members of the community that are striving to improve access and improve health care. And I'd like to challenge everybody else to jump on board, shoulder their load, and provide care just like Halifax Health. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. We look forward to a continued good relationship with your leaders and staff at Halifax.
I'm Deacon Mike Pettit. I would like you all to practice with me when I say, when we work together, you say, great things happen. When we work together, great things happen. When we work together, great things happen. Well, great things truly have happened here this evening. What we have witnessed tonight is a true partnership based on mutual respect between the Faith organization and our public hospital. Both are here to listen to the people and to serve them justly. When we work together, great things happen. Thank you, Halifax Hospital, for stepping up to the plate and being accountable to the uninsured, underinsured, and taxpayers by promising to increase access to the community clinic. And let us always remember, when we work together, great things happen.
I am Father Chris Hoffman, pastor of Our Lady of Hope Catholic Church in Port Orange. Last year, thank you. Last year, 12,000 children in Florida were not given equal access to civil citation diversionary programs, but were instead arrested. These 12,000 children are now branded for life with criminal records. I want you to think back to your childhood. If I named something that you did when you were under 18, please stand up and stay standing. It's confession time. Did anyone ever go into a neighbor's yard to retrieve a ball or a pet? If so, please stand. Nowadays, that's called trespassing. Anyone ever steal a keychain, a candy bar, or anything else from the store? Please stand up. Ever drink alcohol before the age of 18? Please stand up. Ever get into a fight in the schoolyard? Please stand up. I don't see too many people sitting down. Thank you. You may all be seated. Can you believe in 2014 A 7-year-old from Volusia County was arrested for bringing a pencil sharpener to school. It was considered a weapon. Now, she will find it difficult to get jobs, college scholarships, or even to get into the military. She could have received a civil citation. If our state bill would have passed this year, law enforcement would have been obligated to give her one. A civil citation is a diversion tool designed to keep minors who commit small infractions from being arrested. They are not a slap on the wrist. Restitution, treatment, and mentoring can be mandated. It is not being soft or tough on crime, but smart on crime. Right now, we are spending $5,000 to arrest children for misdemeanors, while we could be diverting them, and that costs $450. Plus, recidivism for civil citations, 4%. Detention, 41%. Expanding the use of civil citations through our local and state work is the right thing to do. Members of faith, we have done amazing work to increase civil citations in Volusia County because of faith. Daytona, New Smyrna, and the Volusia County Sheriff's Office have made huge improvements in their usage. Since our action in 2014, over 100 more children in Volusia County have been diverted from arrest because they were issued a civil citation. But the need for a state bill that makes civil citations the default for every law enforcement department is still needed. Overall, in Volusia County, we are only at 43% of eligible children receiving civil citations. Of the 13 law enforcement departments, 4 did not use them at all last year. DeLand, Lake Helen, Daytona Beach Shores, and Ponce Inlet. But I've got good news and bad news about our state bill. The good news is that despite fierce opposition from law enforcement, our bill passed all but one committee it was assigned to. Many state legislators were heroes who stood up to law enforcement and special interest groups. They told them that it is unconscionable that we are arresting children for these minor offenses. But in the end, the law enforcement lobbyists won. Our bill was postponed in its last committee meeting and therefore was not able to get a full vote. It has fallen victim to a bureaucratic system that is controlled by a few legislators and influenced by big money lobbyists. This is not how our democratic process is supposed to work. No wonder people are disgruntled with our current political system. In local elections in Florida, voter turnout is at an all-time low. Many officials accuse the public of being apathetic. But this year, over 15,000 grassroots people came to assemblies across our state to show support for this bill. Do you call that apathetic? I don't. Tonight, we come together to stand as one people of faith and declare that we will overcome. We will stand up for our children. We will keep fighting so that our children can have hope. We refuse to live in a community that criminalizes our children for making childish mistakes. We are committed to dismantling the school-to-prison pipeline. When we work together, great things happen. Tonight, we are issuing a message that is loud and clear to law enforcement that has opposed our bill. You still have total discretion. We will be watching you. Some have said that if we legally mandate equal access to civil citations, that some officers will find other reasons to arrest children by charging them with felonies instead of misdemeanors, just to be able to make an arrest. They are accusing law enforcement of wanting so desperately to arrest children that they're willing to lie or trump up charges just to make the arrest. We have much more faith in the men and women that protect our community than they do. there also seems to be some confusion about who makes laws in our state. I know that the Constitution says it's the legislature that makes the laws, and they are elected officials in Tallahassee. They're writing the laws, and the sheriffs and police chiefs are there to protect our communities, are enforcing the laws, not writing them. Again, I do want to point out that Chief Chitwood is here of Daytona Beach, and he does support equal access for civil citations at the state level, and has written a letter of support toward that end. And we thank you for that. And I'm sure that you have heard the news as we have, that the chief has decided to run for sheriff, and if elected, we expect the same good news at the county level. We have 3 of our elected officials here with us tonight that have stepped up to the plate as allies in the fight for equal access to civil citations. So I want to welcome them here so that they may be able to express their support for civil citations.
Good evening. I'm Pastor Susanna Orensky, and I serve Deltona Christian Church. I want to thank you for being here this evening, representatives. We have, as you know, one question for you this evening, and it's a joy to ask it, I hope. As you know, we've submitted our question to you a week ago so that you are prepared to answer this question with yes or no. A yes or a no only. After you have each had an opportunity to answer the question, you will be given 2 minutes to respond. Now, our question. While in elected office, will you continue to advocate that all children in Florida get equal access to civil citations by supporting state laws that make civil citations mandatory for all first-time, non-violent, misdemeanor offenses? Please stand, gentlemen. I'd like to start with Representative Taylor.
Good evening, everyone. And I guess being the most senior member of the legislative process. Yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Santiago.
Absolutely, yes.
Representative Costello.
Yes.
Thank each of you. Representative Taylor, would you like your 2 minutes to respond?
Okay, now, thank you again. Thank you, Faith, for doing what you do. Not only will I support it, or I did support it, I was asked by Faith to carry the actual bill, and I would have carried that bill had that they needed me to. I see Pastor Hoffman here, Jessica, that came to my office and said, how do we do this? And I'm going to show you how. And I went and I tried to fight with each particular chairman of that committee to get that bill heard in the House. It's not an easy process, and with me being a minority member in the democratic process, me being a Democrat, it's difficult for you to do anything, but I have friends on the other side of the aisle. I'm one of 39, and they're 81, so they got the power to do whatever they want to. But the chairman was in my class. He came into the legislative process with me. We had a good working relationship. So I went to the chairman of the Judicial Committee to ask him to get that bill heard. And like it was mentioned tonight, that last committee wasn't heard, and time ran out on us. This is my last year in the legislature, so I won't be able to support anymore, but had I been there, I would continue to do it, and I will fight for it. I voted for it last year, and would vote this year, and it came from my committee. And like I mentioned to Faith, that whenever you want to learn about that legislative process, I'm still available to show you how to be effective up there and get what you want to out of the process. Thank you.
Representative Santiago, would you like to respond?
Sure. Asking elected officials to not respond is a pretty tough one. I'll tell you, I've been supportive of the cause right from the beginning. I remember 2 years ago when the organization came to my office to discuss the first year that we went after when we got the voluntary juvenile citation process, and immediately I jumped on board there, and as recently as about 6 months ago when they returned to the office and they said, we want to go after mandatory, and I said, well, let's go for it. Who's running the bill? And at that time they told me it was Representative Trujillo was the bill sponsor, and those that were in my office, some of them I see them here, I immediately picked up my phone, I called Representative Trujillo, though he did not answer. I sent him a text saying I'm going to be a co-sponsor on this bill, and he and I later spoke that evening saying how we're going to help him bring this bill across. And as I was mentioned earlier, passing a bill in Tallahassee isn't very easy because there's a lot of opposing forces and proponents and opponents, and it's not a very easy task. And I think what you all are doing here by holding elected officials to come up here, having more police chiefs, having the sheriffs come up here, let them see the support from the community is huge. I'll add that without officers having discretion, I wouldn't be here in front of you today. I did my share of mischief as a juvenile, I can tell you that. And I guess I was one of the lucky ones that came across law enforcement officers that gave me a break, and I had some daddy justice at home, with a little bit of, how that goes. So I'm thankful, and I believe in the process that you all are doing here today, and don't give up, continue this effort, you will make a change. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my honor to be here, and I might not have said that a few years ago, because I believe that you have transformed from being somewhat confrontational to being faith-filled. And that's why I want to be here. And you need to congratulate the Faith group, because if I'm not mistaken, we are the only legislative delegation in the state of Florida that every single member who is wholly within Volusia County has co-sponsored this bill. And it's because of the efforts of the faith community of educating us so we understand the bill and totally support the bill. And the main reason I support the bill is the last line here. It says, wrong page. It says, youth who go through the civil citation program are more likely not to commit another crime than youth who are arrested. Once you learn that, how can you not be for it? And I do have one other comment to make. We talked about justice several times tonight. I want grace for these kids before they get justice. I want justice for all of us, but I don't know about you, but I wouldn't ask to stand if I ever stole something, but I stole a cap gun when I was 5 years old, and my dad saw it, and I had to sweep the step of that storekeeper for 2 weeks and give the cap gun back and save my allowance to buy one. So, I believe in grace, I believe in ultimate justice, and you are to be congratulated because you have made and are making a difference. Please keep it faith-filled, not confrontational. Your elected officials are on your side. We all want the best for our community. Godspeed.
Thank you. Let's thank them again for their commitment to our children in Volusia County and in the state of Florida. Oh, you can do better than that.
53 elected officials were willing to stand up to the powerful lobbies of the Sheriff's Association. Unfortunately, our local state attorney, R.J. Larson, did not. Over the last 3 years, we have had 5 meetings with our elected state attorney. Initially, in small group meetings, he was very supportive of the concept of making civil citation the default, and really did try to help us accomplish this goal. Although he was supportive in these small meetings, we could not convince him to take his support public by writing letters or attend our action assemblies. And once the Sheriff's Association dug in the heels this year and decided to try and stop us from winning equal justice for juveniles, he followed their lead. This is unacceptable. Even if our elected leaders disagree with us, they owe it to their constituents to let us know where they stand. So tonight, I'm asking you to let your voice be heard. Since Mr. Larson decided to ignore this powerful assembly, in your agenda packets, you have a blue sheet with 4 postcards on them. Please sign each postcard and drop them off as you exit this building this evening. Faith will send them to the elected officials. The floor team is passing out pens if you desire one. The other 3 postcards are to thank some more elected officials. First, our Senate bill sponsor, Thad Ottman from Brevard County. He was incredibly strong and stood up to the lobbyists. Then the incoming state president, Senator Nehemiah, who co-sponsored our bill, and finally our Senate Rules Committee chair, who represents part of our county, Senator David Siemens. Not only is it important for us to hold accountable those who ignore the cries of the people, but also to lift up those who listen and respond. So tonight, let us give our support to the officials that stand up and support us by giving them a big hand tonight.
Good evening. My name is Joan Campanaro from Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church in Daytona Beach. I know many of you are thinking, really? Homelessness again? How long are we going to continue to talk about it before something finally happens? That we still have people on the streets in every city of our county. Tonight, I'll go home, relax in my recliner, have a few snacks, sleep in my nice comfy queen bed, yet throughout the county, approximately 2,000 single men and women will make their way to homeless camps in the woods or to wherever they can find to hide out for the night. We simply cannot stop talking about homelessness. The solution is complicated and requires the cooperation of many government and nonprofit agencies. And it requires constant pressure from all of us. It is our duty as people of faith to continue to fight for the homeless. Faith has been researching homelessness since we voted on it in 2011. Once we select a problem area, we use a very deliberate process to find a local, unifying, and winnable solution to the problem. Our intent was never to end homelessness in Volusia County, but to find a specific part of the systemic problem that we know our elected officials have the ability and the responsibility to solve. We found three main problems. First, a lack of coordination between homeless service agencies. Second, a significant problem for homeless people in our criminal justice system. And thirdly, the biggest problem we uncovered is that although we have some transitional and permanent housing, there is a severe lack of emergency shelter, especially for our single homeless individuals. The federal government allocates dollars to Housing First and Rapid Rehousing, which are both highly successful programs, but they offer no funding, no dollars for emergency shelter. Communities that have been very successful with Housing First also have emergency shelter from which to assess and refer individuals. The U.S. Interagency on Homelessness requires a coordinated effort between emergency shelter and Housing First. So in order for us to have long-term success here in Volusia County, we need both Volusia Safe Harbor and more Housing First opportunities. It's not an either-or option. Faith chose to focus on our largest gap, emergency shelter, since there are no other federal funding dollars available for this. Our vision is that once someone becomes homeless in our community, they can immediately find dignity and services at Volusia Safe Harbor, while case managers help them rapidly obtain permanent housing. At last year's Action Assembly, we won a commitment from our county council members to donate the land and up to $4 million to build Volusia Safe Harbor. Yet we still have an estimated 2,000 single homeless people on our streets and in our woods, and we only have 28 emergency shelter beds. Now, yes, it's true that the Salvation Army recently added beds in a gymnasium, giving them a total of 86 bridge beds. But these are temporary, and there are many more folks waiting their turn for a safe night's rest. We thank all who have stepped forward to solve that crisis at our TAB office. Yet it's not enough. This isn't about a lack of money, but the lack of the political will to work together, compromise, and solve the problem. Our local economy is doing better. Published documents show that Volusia County continues to experience an operating surplus. We continue to see businesses locating here. Our recent race and bike weeks brought in record numbers. Last year, both the Volusia County Council and the City of Daytona Beach gave $20 million each to the Speedway. Now, we don't mind investing in the major employers in our county. They're some of our most precious assets. And the lives of our brothers and sisters are also precious. This year, it's time to help those people who need it most and make a commitment, follow through on that commitment, and build Volusia Safe Harbor. Before I get into any details, I want to invite Edward Barnes from Allen Chapel IME in New Smyrna Beach to share his story.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your attendance and your warm welcome, City Commissioners. My name is Edward Barnes. I reside in New Smyrna Beach. In 2014, I was released from being incarcerated, Florida Department of Corrections. Upon my release, I was given $50 and a bus ticket to anywhere in the continental United States. I didn't have a home to go to. On top of that, I am a recovering drug addict. The $50 and the bus ticket was a recipe for failure, disaster. I had no choice but to return to the same environment that had me fostered and perpetuated my addiction. What I needed was a safe place that would provide the necessary services to help me get my life back on track. Only by the grace of God, I was able to escape failure and disaster. And as a result, I was able to gain employment. But I know so many men and women today are given the same recipe for failure. Busted. Nowhere to go. That's a recipe for failure. I believe God commissioned me to fight for homelessness. But everyone is willing to step up to the plate. My mayor, he knew about the assembly well in advance, but he decided to schedule some type of fitness challenge. I don't know where that is. Tonight, I am grieved and tired of politicians playing ping-pong with the lives of my brothers and sisters. Enough talk. Homeless people are dying, they are suffering, and they're dying while decisions are being made. Had a place like Volusia Safe Harbor had been in place when I was released, it would have helped make my transition a lot easier, no doubt. Volusia Safe Harbor is a pillar of our city and our communities. We need Volusia Safe Harbor. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward, for sharing your powerful story. The Volusia Safe Harbor Work Group worked hard on the details of Volusia Safe Harbor. The group consisted of representatives of several cities that have made a commitment to Volusia Safe Harbor, along with the service providers, Judge Bell Schuman, business executives, and representatives from faith. Many of these individuals are here with us tonight. Yet, some have reviewed this work and questioned the efficacy. Others have claimed that it's only a jail diversion program or a warehouse in the middle of nowhere aimed at getting the homeless out of sight and out of mind. The Volusia Safe Harbor that Faith supports is a 24/7 come-as-you-are homeless assistance center where people in crisis can get back on their feet by being connected to any services that they need through master case management. The end goal is rapid graduation from homelessness into stable housing with whatever support services are required to help them remain housed. It's Volusia Safe Harbor is a piece of the solution, a piece that is missing for Volusia County to make a serious impact in reducing homelessness. Many have heard of the plan by Chet Bell, Ray Salazar, and Randy Croy. And we are here to tell you that Volusia Safe Harbor is a perfect fit for the part of the plan they label emergency shelter. The newly formed Commission on Homelessness has been tasked with recommending the size, scope, and location of a countywide shelter. Faith is confident that once all alternatives are researched, the group will find that the current size, location, and plan are in fact the best option. We've already done the research. Shortly, who will hear Catholic Charities of Central Florida give a commitment to operating the facility in partnership with other service providers. Halifax Hospital has agreed to operate a clinic there. Stuart Marchmanak will provide additional case management and counseling for those struggling with mental health and addiction issues. Halifax Urban Ministries is an integral part of this partnership, and we welcome any other service providers that are interested in being a part of this collaborative solution. We have heard from many of our homeless brothers and sisters that will come to the shelter, therefore dispelling the myth that no one will come. Voltron has hourly bus service to the area, and the operating budget includes plans for additional transportation to appointments and jobs outside of the facility. The solution may not be perfect. Compromises seldom are, but it is time to stop the bickering and make Volusia Safe Harbor a reality.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Reverend Derek Harris, pastor of Master's Domain Church of God in Christ. At this point, I will lead us through the next portion of our agenda. The first portion that we shall deal with deals with commitments from Catholic Charities. I will ask you these questions and ask if you will please respond by saying yes or no. Number one, will you be the lead agency and work with other supportive organizations such as HUM, Halifax Hospital, Stuart Marchman, and other service providers to operate Volusia Safe Harbor?
Yes.
Will you fundraise and write grants to support the operations of Volusia Safe Harbor?
Yes.
On behalf of Faith, we would like to thank you, and at this time, we ask if you have a response.
We are honored to have the opportunity to be a part of this project. We believe very much in the dignity and respect that's afforded each individual. From a Catholic charity standpoint, we believe it's absolutely critical that this project is based on collaboration and partnership. We believe that we can certainly do all that is necessary to pull the partners together in this community. We're pleased to be afforded the opportunity to be a part of it and to come alongside of all the work that's been done to make great things happen. And we look forward to supporting this ministry as we would any other ministry of Catholic Charities and doing all that we can to tell the story and to engage others in supporting it. Thank you.
give Mr. Gary Tester a big hand. Come on. Now we will begin to address our elected officials that have taken the time to join us tonight. We reiterate all the questions that we are asking tonight reflect hours, hundreds of hours of volunteer research. In the past 4 years, we've gone over and over 100 meetings with homeless experts and elected officials. Each official we invited here tonight has received the questions ahead of time. I'd like to ask all representatives from our cities and the county to please stand. We ask that you give a yes or no response to each question, that we are clear on what action will be taken. When each has responded yes or no, you will be given up to 2 minutes to explain your answer. Our first question for everyone tonight is, do you agree that homelessness is a county-wide problem? First, to our Daytona Beach Mayor, Henry. Daytona Beach Commissioner Reed.
Yes.
Daytona Beach Commissioner Trader. Daytona Beach Commissioner White.
Yes.
Daytona Beach Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Orange City Mayor LaPuca.
Yes.
Daytona Beach Shores Commissioner Wheeler.
Yes.
Daytona Beach Shores Commissioner Guyton.
Yes.
Ormond Beach Mayor Keller.
Yes.
DeLand Mayor Apgar.
Yes.
County Council Member Daniels.
Yes.
At this time, once again, our county council members and non-Daytona Beach commissioners can sit at this time. Let's get a round of applause for all of our elected officials that recognize that homelessness is a countywide problem. The next 3 questions are directed to our city representatives from Daytona Beach. The rest of you may be seated. Faith is advocating for a countywide homeless assistance center that shelters homeless people in emergency situations and to permanent housing opportunities. Our question is this: will you advocate for and vote for Daytona Beach to fund at least $400,000 a year for 5 years, starting in 2016-2017 budget toward this project? First, Daytona Beach Mayor Henry.
Yes.
Daytona Beach Commissioner Reed.
Yes.
Commissioner Trader.
Yes.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Will you maintain your commitment to take the leadership role to secure commitments from other service providers, cities, and private sources to supplement the operational costs of Volusia Safe Harbor? Mayor Henry?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Trader?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
And Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Will you continue your commitment to take ownership of the facility? Mayor Henry?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Let me be clear. Let's ask her name first. Commissioner Trader, the answer is?
No, because
We will have a response at the end. Thank you. Commissioner White?
Yes.
And Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Thank you very much for your commitment. So once we finish asking questions of the other officials, you will each have time to respond. Our next few questions are for elected representatives from a few of our other cities. The number we're asking each of your cities to pay is the result of 7 months of meetings of the Volusia Safe Harbor Work Group that Joan mentioned earlier. They developed a budget and a formula that divided that budget up between all of the cities of Volusia County based on the poverty rate and population of each city. The county was excluded from that budget, as was any private sector and nonprofit dollars. Tonight, we're asking the county to add $400,000 and Catholic charities already committed to supplement the budget of the facility. So we're confident that the amount we're requesting is the absolute maximum amount, even if one of our 2 other cities decide not to contribute to this countywide initiative. Faith is advocating for countywide homeless assistance centers that shelters homeless people in emergency situations, with the end goal being to reconnect people to their communities and to permanent housing opportunities. At this time, I'm asking that those representatives from our other cities will please stand. Our first question goes to the Orange City Mayor, Labuka, and the question is, will you advocate for and vote for funding up to $59,057 for your city in the 2016-2017 budget toward this project?
Yes.
Daytona Beach Shores Commissioner Wheeler and Daytona Beach Shores Commissioner Geiger, will you advocate for and vote for funding up to $12,291 from your city in the 2016-2017 budget toward this project?
Yes.
All right. To our land mayor, Apgar, will you advocate for and vote for funding up to $132,451 from your city in the 2016-2017 budget toward this project?
I think that's to me, Kelly.
Yes, that is Ormond Beach, please, excuse me, Ormond Beach Mayor.
I did do my homework and I read the question and the answer is no.
The answer is no. And so now we are going to the land mayor. Will you advocate for and vote for funding up to $132,451 $451 from your city in the 2016-2017 budget toward this project?
No.
We're disappointed that more of your peers chose not to join us this evening, but we will continue to work with them to get them to do their fair share. And now at this time, we are going to have questions going towards our Volusia County Council. I would like to say that Councilmember Cusack was also contacted, and she has agreed and have said yes to all of these questions that we've been asking. So right now, we're directing these questions to Councilmember Daniels. Will you continue to advocate for the county's promise to donate land and up to $4 million for capital expenses for a countywide homeless assistance center, which shelters people in emergency situations, with the end goal being to reconnect people to their communities and to permanent housing opportunities?
Yes.
Our next question is, will you advocate for and vote for the county to fund $400,000 a year for at least 5 years, starting in the 2016-17 budget, toward operating this countywide homeless assistance center?
Yes.
Thank you for looking at us and making this decision. Before we move on, I'd like to point out that County Council members Patterson, Denny's, and Chair Davis chose not to be here this evening. Councilmember Wagner, Cusack, had a scheduling conflict, but provided their answers in writing, and both said yes to each. Because we have so many elected officials here with us tonight, each official will have 2 minutes to respond. Once every official gives the answer, because we don't have a clock like all of you do in your meeting rooms, Reverend Troxler will gently ring the bell to let us know you have gone over your time limit. Once again, thank you for your commitments. Can everyone give all of our yes answers a great advantage? And at this time, we will allow time for responses. Please, if we could start, let's start with our mayor, Mayor Derek Henry.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to begin by saying that I think that the city of Daytona Beach has been a fair player in this endeavor from day one. Our objective has been to help you and all who are committed to ending the scourge of homelessness to come up with a reasonable solution. We initially funded, as you know, Dr. Harvard, and the research that has gone into this process. So I want to commend my colleagues this evening, and I want to simply say to you all, thank you for continuing to keep this on the front burner, not allowing it to go to the back burner. That can easily happen in politics. I also want to say that I am more than committed, and I believe that we will get a facility constructed. $400,000, I do want you to know, is a lot. It's a tremendous investment from the community. The reason that I was able to say that we as a city would own it, from my perspective, someone has to own the homeless situation and those who are suffering from that blight. And so, if that is us, and that is a shoulder that we must carry, or weight that we must carry, as the mayor of Daytona Beach, I'm willing to stand and stand with you, stand with our homeless brothers and sisters. And then finally, I want to say that I have reached out to the county council on multiple occasions in an effort to say, let us sit down together and figure a way that we can come up with a solution. And that meeting has yet to transpire. I continue to offer that olive branch because I believe that this problem will only be eliminated or addressed properly when we all sit down together at the table with a legitimate conversation, shake hands, and make an effort to address it. So thank you, God bless you, and continue your good work.
Good evening. I echo the comments of our mayor in regards to Daytona's commitment. I think we have more than proven that we're committed to this effort. I'd like to thank Faith for their effort because it's the people who make things happen. And so therefore I ask you to help us to collaborate with the other cities, those who have chosen not to commit, that it's going to take you to help us to ask them to join in this effort. This is a county situation. It's not Daytona Beach's, it's not any individual cities. But I believe that if we come together and collaborate on this effort, together we can make a difference for those who are so unfortunate. I don't know about you, but I have never wondered where I was going to lay my head. I have never wondered where my next meal is going to come from. And I thank God for that. And for those who had that situation, I pray that we would be the city that leads the way and that others will join us in standing together to make a difference in the lives of those individuals. Thank you.
Commissioner Traeger, when we asked you a previous question, you answered no to the question on ownership, and I just would like to go over that a little bit before you give your 2 minutes. We won't take this out of your 2 minutes, I promise. Previously, the city of Daytona Beach has said that they would own the facility. And if this facility is to happen, someone has to own it. And since Daytona Beach has taken the lead in so many of the activities to make this happen, we are asking them to take ownership of it so that they can then go to the service providers and to the other cities and get the funds that will be necessary to operate it. We are not asking them to give anything over their fair share towards this. Does that change your answer in any way?
First of all, I desperately want Safe Harbor to succeed. And I believe the best way for it to succeed is to be administered by a 501c3 entity. For a number of reasons. First of all, donations or contributions would be tax deductible from the people. Second of all, I believe that the cities would more readily contribute their promised share to a neutral entity rather than to another city. And I am responsible also to the residents of Daytona Beach. And if there should be a shortfall, I do not want the residents of Daytona Beach to have to shoulder more than their fair share, because this is a countywide problem. And the reason there are so many homeless coming to Daytona Beach is because we have provided services all along that many of the other cities have not. We hired the expert to try to find out how to fix that. We have pledged $400,000. Now it's time for some of the other cities to step up also. It is not fair that we should have all the burden, even though we have maybe a lot of homeless people. There are some also on the other side of the county. That's why I believe the location for Safe Harbor is the best, and I really, truly want it to succeed.
Commissioner White, let's give her a hand.
answer to managing our county's homeless problem because it meets humanitarian, a legal, and an economic test that I don't know that anything else does yet. And from a humanitarian standpoint, we do have to answer the question, where do people perform basic things? Sleeping, eating, going to the bathroom, where can that happen in our community? From an economic standpoint, we're talking a lot about money, and it's very difficult for any city to put a new line item to pay for a homeless shelter. I get that. But we're paying for homelessness in very subtle ways that we don't quite always understand via our hospital emergency rooms, the policing it costs to pick people up and take them to the jail, the cost for the courts, the costs go on and on and on. So I would definitely argue we are paying way more than the amount of money we're suggesting people put into their city budgets to look at this. From a legal standpoint, I live in a district where it's not always a humanitarian standpoint people are thinking about. They have someone destroying their business or wrecking their bathroom, and all they want is that person arrested. They want them taken to jail, and they don't want to see him again. But really, to enforce our ordinances, we have to have something that meets the legal requirements. So this is the best way for us to manage this problem. I continue to be committed, and I continue to want to work with the county and other cities. Thank you.
Greetings. I was born and raised in the city of Daytona Beach. I've seen homelessness, I've seen the plight of homelessness, and seen how it has affected our cities since I was a young man here in the city. I believe wholeheartedly that we need a come as you are shelter. But I also want to make a poignant point that this is not a city of Daytona Beach's problem only. This is a problem that affects each and every one of us in Volusia County. And in my heart, I feel as though each and every city, as well as the county, should step up and do its fair share. Having said that, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the business community for stepping up and helping us with these emergency beds. The city of Daytona Beach has made the first effort. We understand that we are the picture of homelessness for this community because when it's front and center, Daytona Beach is what's plastered on the news, is what's plastered in the newspaper, and that's what people see. But I'm wholeheartedly going to support a come as you are shelter in the city of Daytona Beach to do its part. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Tom Lepetka. I'm the mayor of Orange City. I'm a Christian. This subject touches my heart. Almost 4 years ago, at a conference in Orlando, I stumbled into a program that was given, had no prior knowledge of it, and that's where I first met Robert Martin. I was very impressed with what he had to say because he was addressing the homeless issue. I invited him to Volusia County. I commend these people. They hired him to further that. Safe Harbor comes from that. I'm on the other side of the county. We don't see homeless on the street as much, but they're there. We have a woman that works for the community outreach for one of our local Baptist churches. I spoke with her this morning. I asked her, give me some serious numbers for Orange City as people that you know that are out in the woods today. The number's close to 200. When it gets cold, it's cold. When it gets wet, it's wet. Can't stand for that. Have to fix it. So I'm fully behind making it happen. It will happen. And thank you very much for doing what you do.
Hi, I'm Lily Wheeler. I'm the City Commissioner of Daytona Beach Shores. I was the president of the Volusia League of Cities when this was first really brought to my attention. I happen to have a resolution here that I helped enforce in our city, that we already made that resolution several years ago, that we would be committed. I still stand committed to that totally. I have worked vigorously to get all the cities together on this issue. This is not just a Daytona issue. This is not just a city issue. It is a county issue, and we need to be working on it together. I'm running for County Council District 2, and I can assure you, when I get on the council, I will continue to work on issues for the homeless. And if this is something we have to be passionate about, it is the right thing to do.
Ditto. I just want to quote something that Father Phil said this weekend at Mass. When are we going to stop talking about this and have a shelter? As a member of Our Lady of Lourdes for the last 18 years, hopefully I have all the right answers. Thank you all for being here.
On the beach, Mayor Kelly.
Can I have a balance of their time to answer? Because what has happened tonight has really messed up our prepared remarks. And most of you that know me and heard me speak, I don't really have prepared remarks. But what I was going to say is, what we have is a lot of words, we have a lot of people walking, we have a lot of people talking, we have a lot of ears listening. What we were missing was the component of the body called the head. We had no leadership. Tonight, from what I've heard, has changed all that, and that makes a tremendous difference. Ormond Beach was the first and probably the only to partner with Daytona Beach on the study. We provided a vehicle to go to Safe Harbor to examine it. I served as the chairman of VCOG at the time when this was first brought to us. I've advocated for Safe Harbor. I've advocated for a solution. But what we had up until now was just that. We had a bunch of talk and not enough walk. Tonight, y'all had brought people together with leadership. And that was one of the reasons that I was going to change my political point, was the leadership that was missing in the county. Now hearing that the county is willing to do what I had suggested in November, and that is they have to partner with all of us in the cities with the operational aspect of this. I will take this back to our city, and I guarantee you, I'm not going to guarantee you, we will be a partner to some degree. We had discussed a number of $100,000 8 months ago. So the city, I will take this back to our city. I'm not going to commit to doing something that I don't have the power to do, other than say, I will take it back, support it from my standpoint, and see if our commission can go along with it. We brought it up at the last meeting. There was no specifics, but let's see where this talk from tonight goes. If the talk from all of the people that I've heard becomes reality, you can count on Ormond Beach, at least me, advocating for partnering with and making Safe Harbor a part of the solution.
Can we go back to Mayor Kelly for a moment? Because when we asked you the question before, the question you said no to, it was pretty much what you just said you were going to do. We know we can't ask you to deliver your city. We know you're only one vote. But what we're asking you is, will you commit to advocate for this and vote for it if it comes up?
I've given my answer. I gave my answer in a 2-minute dissertation, as quickly as I could.
Yeah, but we have to have yes to put you yes over there.
If Daytona Beach had not stepped up, if the county had not stepped up, my answer would have been I would not advocate for it because we did not have the leadership. And that's the way I feel. You cannot operate anything, whether it's a baseball team, football team, a city government, or anything without leaders. And we had no leadership. And that's why I was going to be against it, and that's why I was going to say we have to have it. Fortunately, we have people stepping up and offering to lead.
So all you have to do is say yes.
We have, no, I'm going to say the answer that I gave you. answer that I gave in my 2 minutes is the answer I'm going to stick to.
Thank you.
Advocate for the support from our city to support Safe Harbor becoming a reality. And that's what I'm going to do, and to support it financially to the level that we can.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The land wants to be part of the solution, a comprehensive, financially sustainable solution to the homeless problem. I've advocated for that. I will continue to advocate for that. In our last year's budget discussions as well as this, we've allocated $75,000 to the homeless solution. Our staff has met with a lot of the experts, myself included, not as an expert, but part of the meetings. We've sent someone to Salt Lake City. We've been educating ourselves so we can make what we believe is in the best interest of the homeless community and our community. Originally, I was a supporter of Safe Harbor, but as I've educated myself, I've morphed on that position. The neighborhood center in downtown DeLand is currently raising money to add an additional 20 beds to its facility. That expansion, with more immediate financial help, could be open late this year. If they could add another 20 on top of that, that would have, I'm told, a significant impact on homelessness, chronic homelessness in West Volusia. That facility is near transportation, near services, and jobs. It is at a lower cost than the DeLand commitment to Safe Harbor and could serve more area homeless sooner. Family Renew also wants to open a second West Volusia location. For DeLand and the other West Volusia cities to work with those two agencies simply may be a better approach and may garner more support among West Volusia cities. In my opinion, DeLand will participate financially and otherwise to the solution to homelessness.
Thank you. Yes. County Councilmember Daniels.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you, for coming here this evening. I find it troubling that I am the only county council member here this evening. I hope that's contradictory. What I want to say is this, is I don't want to quibble over the shelter. You know, there's been quibbles here and there. I don't want to quibble over it. But $4 million for shelter, fine. $400,000 for operations, fine. Actually, you're letting us off too easy. This is a county problem. The county ought to be taking responsibility for it. It really should. You're asking these cities that don't have the resources that we have to contribute money. I'm glad that they are. I'm glad that you're asking them. But really, this is a county problem. This is something we should be taking control over. And it is a problem that is much likely to get worse before it gets better. You've seen the statistics, the dichotomy between rich and poor. You know what rental rates are like here. This is a poor community, but to rent anything is $1,000 a month. How can you provide yourself housing with the wage rates we have in Daytona with $1,000 a month rent? In the New York Times, in the New York Times, I saw this, and I think it was like 2 weeks ago. You've got to work 77 hours a week to afford the average rent in Daytona Beach. That is something that we just can't live with. This is a problem that's going to get bigger. It's going to become more serious. It is something we've got to deal with very seriously from this point forward. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you for your support. But you have to stay engaged. There's going to be some difficult questions down the road. This isn't the end. To quote Winston Churchill, this isn't even the end of the beginning. This is going to be a long, long fight to get this thing done and get it done correctly. Thank you.
Let's give all of our elected officials a great big round of applause.
veto, and I'd like to thank all of you for being here tonight. As a Christian, my scriptures teach me that at the time of the final judgments, it is the nations, the governments, that will be gathered before the Lord Jesus, and he will judge them. The nations that feed the hungry, clothe the naked, care for the sick, basically provide for the homeless, are the nations that do it for him. These nations will be invited home with him. The nations that don't will become homeless. We are here tonight to redeem our entire community. Let's give another round of applause to our elected officials that join us in this. When we work together, great things happen. The city of Deltona had city commission meetings tonight, and for that reason could not attend. Joyce Cusack and Josh Wagner both wanted to be here, but had serious scheduling conflicts. Josh Wagner answered yes to each question and provided the following statement. I am very sorry to have missed the Action Assembly this year. As you probably know, I have been a huge supporter of all faith initiatives. This homeless issue is no different. This is a very important initiative, and we all should be very proud of how far we have come. It is because of your continued support and prayers that we, together, are moving mountains to help the homeless people in our community. Let me be clear, faith is not choosing sides. There is no county versus city side we are taking. There is no housing first versus shelter side that we are taking. Anyone who says that is trying to divide our community. We are saying enough is enough. Tonight is about coming together. If a small city like Daytona Beach is willing to do what they have committed to do tonight, and Volusia County Council really is committed to donate the land and $4 million, even $400,000 a year operating, what is the excuse for not moving forward? We are presenting a compromise in which our organization gains nothing. Our recommendation on location and size of the shelter come after 5 years of research and meetings with every single social service provider and local experts, not to mention on-site visits to successful shelters. We went through an authentic process to come up with our results. No one dare say again, no one supports Volusia Safe Harbor. Has anyone read the letters to the editor in the News Journal? I can't think of another time in my 20 years as a pastor in Daytona Beach where I have seen such a public outcry. I have never seen so many rallying around the same problem, yet alone around the same solution. Give yourselves a round of applause for yet again a turnout of over 1,000 people tonight. 1,000 people to fight for justice and to fight for our brothers and sisters who are homeless. Faith moves mountains. Faith moves mountains.
On behalf of the congregations gathered here tonight, I would like to thank each of our public officials for their dedication, their service, and their courage for joining us this evening. Can we give them another round of applause? However, there are those who have chosen not to attend. As I look around this room and I see people from different religions, different races and different socioeconomic statuses, all coming together for one reason, it is truly unfortunate that these elected officials are not here to witness this assembly. It is unacceptable that they won't be held accountable publicly. We are all particularly disappointed in the members of the Volusia County Council that declined to be here this evening. Fred Lowry, Deb Bennings, Pat Patterson, and especially the head of our largest elected government, County Council Chair Jason Davis. Because they chose not to attend, we don't know where they stand, and we certainly cannot hold them accountable for their stance if they won't state it publicly. Ignoring the problem does not mean it will go away, nor does it mean faith will go away. How many of you know that we will not go away? We will keep fighting for justice for the many across our county who suffer. In your agenda package, you have the contact information for each mayor and county council member that was invited to attend this assembly. When you go home tonight, please contact your representative and let them know that you are disappointed and you expect them to work with us as we move forward. Tonight, we have seen a powerful display of not only democracy, but also of faith. We have seen an organization that is stepping up to answer God's call to work for justice. We are here tonight not just to remind our leaders that they have an obligation to work for justice, but also support them when they do. There will be meetings coming up when we will need to be there to support the changes we've asked for the elected officials who advocate for those changes. Let us not go back to our homes and let our passion die. We must be ready when the time is right to come together again as a sign of support to show how serious we are about living out our values. Will everyone who brought 3 people with you tonight please stand? Can we give these individuals a round of applause? You, the members of our justice ministries, are what makes faith able to implement solutions here in Volusia County. Because when we work together, great things happen. On April 25th, Faith will hold our Justice Ministry Celebration Banquet at Our Lady of Hope Catholic Church in Port Orange, starting at 6:30 p.m. Again, that is April 25th. This is a free banquet. Someone say free. This is a free banquet, and the night that Faith kicks off our investment drive. If you were standing moments ago as a Justice Ministry Network member, this is one of the 4 meetings you have been asked to attend. We look forward to a night to celebrate together all of the hard work we have done and will continue to do for justice. One final thought. You all know that to pursue justice within a system as complex as ours is long, hard, and that work we can do. So in the coming weeks, let's celebrate what we've done this year and let that celebration energize us for next year. People are counting on us to participate with God in the great work of justice. Thank you and have a blessed evening.
This time we are delighted to have the Sikh community sharing with us. So before the Imam comes to give us the closing prayer, we will give them a minute to say a word to us.
Hello friends. Sikhs represent on the faith board Dr. Chada and myself, Dr. Gopal Singh, the Sikh congregation. Sikhism is over 500 years old religion. The founder is Nanak, who emphasized monotheism, equality and equal opportunity for all. And he emphasized with a little story which begins in his childhood. When he was about 15 years old, his father gave him 20 silver coins. And he said, son, make some kind of good profit. And he went to the town with his friend, saw on the way many homeless people, many hungry and naked. He thought for a minute, went to the market, bought the supplies, and distributed among them. And they all blessed him for his efforts to help them out. And that was the very beginning of the Sikh congregation, Sikh community. And since that time, Sikhs have been feeding wherever their congregation lived, the hungry and homeless, not only nationwide and all over the world. So with that, I want you to know that we, as a Sikh congregation, support fully the efforts of the faith organization. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. And peace be upon you all. I am extremely happy to see so many people from different religions coming out tonight for one purpose, and that is to find solutions for the problems that affect our community. I believe that faith moves mountains. I believe that faith changes lives. I believe that faith unites communities. Brothers and sisters, we are here so we can practically tell people that caring for others is something deep-rooted in every religion. God told us in the Quran that He sent Jesus Christ, peace be upon Him, as a mercy. And that part of His mission is to make the lives of people who are struggling better. That's why it is no surprise to know that the majority of the first generation of people who believed in Jesus Christ, peace be upon Him, were the poor and needy. Prophet Muhammad as well had the same role. He had turned his mosque into a shelter for the homeless. The first sermon that he gave was about the virtues of feeding the hungry. And he said, he is not a believer. He does not have faith whose stomach is filled while the neighbor to his side goes hungry. Religion to me is not how much you pray, but how much you contribute to help others. Our youth is the future of our nation, and they deserve better treatment. In my closing, I want to add, we must rejoice as well. This community should be proud of the significant number of its religious leaders, city officials, politicians, business owners and community leaders, and other dignitaries that have chosen to attend tonight and come together to make a positive impact and difference in the lives of their community. What a wonderful and historical evening to be a part of this faith assembly. Thank you for attending and supporting. So now that we did our part, let us pray. Our Lord, the Lord of the heavens and the earth, the most merciful, the all-knower, and the all-just. Help us solve our problems and inspire us to come up with the right solutions. Keep this community united. Help the people who suffer homelessness and hunger, and be with those who are neglected and abandoned. We are called to listen to the commands, to love, and do justice. Our gathering today reminds us of our responsibility to work with one another, to remake our world into a more hopeful place of peace. We are inspired and guided to hear the cry of the poor and oppressed and despised. We know that alone we are limited in what we can do, but together we are powerful. Our strength comes from unity, rather than individuality. We ask
judge.